Hello friends, welcome back to Technique. Today we'll be doing the detailed camera review of the newly launched OnePlus 12R. Now OnePlus 12R is the successor to the hugely popular OnePlus 11R launched last year. Now the camera setup on this device is quite similar to the OnePlus 11R. So in this video we'll be having a look at how good the performance of this device is. Now this device is priced at $39,999 for the base variant. So let's find out how good the camera experience is. So before going into the detailed video, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. Let's first talk about the hardware. Now the primary camera on the OnePlus 12R is a 50 megapixel Sony IMX890 sensor with f1.8 aperture, face detection, autofocus. There is EIS and OIS support. Now the secondary camera is an 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera with f2.2 aperture. Now the third camera is a 2 megapixel macro sensor. Now on the selfie camera we have a 16 megapixel shooter with f2.4 aperture and EIS is included. So that's the camera hardware of this device. So let's see how good the camera experience is on this device with almost similar camera setup. In terms of daylight conditions, what you could find out is that there is good amount of details on offer. The dynamic range is nice and wide and quite good overall. The details are good. The colors are done really well. There isn't any sort of saturation issues, and overall the detailing and sharpness levels looks quite okay. So the most part you won't have any issues with the camera. The primary camera does a quite good job overall. The details and sharpness levels are quite acceptable. It may not be the best camera out there in this price segment, but it won't disappoint users with any sort of issues, and it is kind of dependable camera in the daylight conditions. So that was the daylight conditions or rather the daylight photos taken with this device. Now moving on to the ultra wide angle camera. The 8 megapixel ultra wide angle camera is kind of very much average, I would say. Nothing much to talk about this. It's a decent shooter. The colors are quite natural and comparable to the primary camera, but the details from the 8 megapixel shooter is strictly average. Let's move on to the close-up shots. Once again, the device performs really well. The colors are very good, and the details and sharpness levels looks very impressive. Even in bright sunlight, the colors are done pretty good, and overall quality looks impressive. Now, the phone also comes with a 2 megapixel macro sensor. Now, this is a sensor which isn't very impressive actually, but it can take decent photograph. You can see that the quality is kind of very much average. The sharpness levels are again average, but in some occasions you can do with the 2 megapixel shooter. Now portraits, that's one good thing about this camera. It is quite okay in terms of portrait conditions. The skin tones are good but not really natural looking. There is a slight whitening effect, but overall I would say not a bad portrait photography. But there are some issues where when there is bright sunlight, the HDR performance was not that impressive, but the edge detection was quite good. So overall in terms of portrait conditions, we would say it's quite acceptable camera in this price segment. Now moving on to the low light photos. Now in indoor and artificial light conditions, you can see here there is good amount of details. It's quite acceptable. There is no noise in the photos, but when it comes to extreme low light, it is better to turn on the night mode. And here you can see that the details are quite acceptable once again, and the sharpness levels again it's decent, I would say, nothing great, but there is an attempt to reduce the noise and it succeeds to an extent, and the dynamic range looks okay again. So overall the low light photography is quite okay, but again not a class leading by any means, but again it won't disappoint users as well. Finally, moving on to the selfie camera. The 16 megapixel shooter produces pretty good results. Personally, I like the selfie camera. The skin tones are quite okay, although it's not perfect by any means, but it won't disappoint users, and the overall sharpness levels and details are quite okay. Now there is also portrait selfie, which is quite good, I would say. The edge detection is done pretty well. So overall selfie experience is definitely good on this device. Let's move on to the video recording. Now the phone can record videos in 4K 60 FPS with OIS and EIS support, and the footage looks okay, but the OIS is quite okay, but the transition while panning isn't very smooth actually, and the video quality is quite okay, although the colors are not strictly great, but I would say it's quite okay. Now the phone can also do 1080p 60 FPS video. Once again the footage is very similar to the 4K recording. The colors are good, but there is a bit of an issue with a white balance actually. It's not the best color reproduction, but it won't disappoint most of the users, and there is also a good stabilization offered. Once again the footage is quite stable overall. Now moving on to the video recording using the ultra wide angle camera, it can record in 1080p at 30 fps and the footage is strictly average. The 8 megapixel shooter has its limitations, but the colors are quite okay, but overall quality looks strictly average on this camera. So this is the front facing camera sample taken with the OnePlus 12R. You can record videos only in 1080p resolution, so you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the videos and also the audio output. So this is the front facing camera sample taken with the stabilization turned on the OnePlus 11R. Once again, this is in 1080p resolution and there is no 4K support on the front camera. So that is a detailed camera review of the OnePlus 12R. So summing up, the OnePlus 12R is not a camera device which will impress you or wow you, but it is also not a device which will disappoint you. It's somewhere in the middle ground which provides a decent camera experience overall. If you are a person who is looking for an all-round package with a decent camera experience, then the OnePlus 12R won't disappoint you. But if you are in the market for a great camera device at the 40,000 price segment, probably you should be also looking at the other option, because OnePlus 12R is not probably the best device out there, but it won't disappoint most of the users. So that was my camera review of the OnePlus 12R. So what do you guys think about the camera on the OnePlus 12R? Do let us know your thoughts in the comment section. This is Normal signing off with a camera review of the OnePlus 12R. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Hope to see you in our next video. Have a great day.